College Station, something about Mississippi State tends to expose potential truths about Texas A&M's football team. Last year, an upset loss to the Bulldogs showed the Aggies might not be one of the best teams in the country, a theory proved correct after an A&M team standing fourth in the first college football playoff rankings finished outside the final Associated Press Top 25 poll. In Saturday's 35-14 win at Kyle Field, Mississippi State shined a light on A&M's offensive struggles this season. Those issues were magnified as the Aggies, 5-3, 3-2 sect, suffered their worst loss of the year. Obviously, our execution was not anywhere near where it needed to be offensively, Texas A&M coach Kevin Sumlin said. For the second straight game, A&M gained less than 300 yards. Mississippi State, 6-2, 3-2 sect, held the Aggies to 285 total yards, with 169 of those coming in the fourth quarter, when redshirt freshman Nick Starkel played a majority of the minutes. Starkel, who hadn't played since he broke an ankle in the season-opening loss to UCLA, came in with a little more than 9 minutes left in the game. Sumlin said he didn't like the way freshman quarterback Kellen Mond looked after a hit that resulted in a personal foul. Starkel was 8 of 15 passing for 133 yards, 1 touchdown and an interception that was returned for a touchdown. Mond was 8 of 26 for 56 yards for no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. On both errors, the ball came off an A&M player's hands before it was snatched out of the air by a Mississippi State kid player. Don't expect a change at quarterback. Sumlin said Starkel's performance on Saturday night won't change Mond's status. Coming into the game against the Bulldogs, Mond's completion percentage was the lowest among SEC quarterbacks. The Aggies were 10th in the conference in yards per play, a sign that they haven't been able to move the ball effectively. A&M's late surge kept Saturday night from being the Aggies' worst offensive performance since a 192-yard outing against Mississippi State. Sumlin was hesitant to lay all of the blame at Mond's feet. "It's not all on the quarterback," Sumlin said. "I'll put it that way. We have to make those plays in those tight situations." The coach criticized the number of competitive plays made by the wide receivers, a comment that was also made after the Aggies lost to UCLA, when Mond was 3 of 17 passing. Since then, the Aggies have done just enough to win. Most of that has been because of A&M's defensive effort. But things were a little different against Mississippi State junior quarterback Nick Fitzgerald. He threw for 141 yards and tallied 105 of the team's 228 rushing yards. "We knew if we could move them up front and we could run the ball, that's what we were going to do," said Fitzgerald, who scored 3 total touchdowns. "Obviously, it worked out for us." Against the Bulldogs, the Aggies were unable to compensate for the lack of an offensive output. In A&M's last game, the offense picked up a season-low 263 yards but was still able to beat Florida on the road. At home, after a week of rest, things hadn't changed. Aggie running backs Travian Williams and Keith Ford couldn't find the holes that were plentiful against UCLA and Arkansas. On Saturday night, A&M averaged 3.4 yards a carry, with Mond and Williams each running for a team-high 32 yards. When a team can't move the ball on the ground, it makes things difficult in the passing game. And when the receivers struggle like they did against Mississippi State, it only compounds problems. Had A&M found a way to beat the Bulldogs, maybe the offense's struggles would go unnoticed for another week. But the issue became impossible to avoid on Saturday night. With 3 SEC games remaining on the schedule, the Aggies will have to find some fixes in order to avoid another rough November.